Welcome into the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington. What is up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm just vibing.
You just vibing?
Just chilling.
It's just a vibe.
Just a vibe.
We have recorded an excellent episode for you today. We've got a La La Land movie review. We've got a new segment called Who Are We? And we finished.
Still don't get it.
And you never will.
Okay.
We have, unless you watch the Parks and Rec, then you'll get it. And then we top the show off with our usual The Umbrella Academy episode breakdown, as of the last 2 weeks, the usual. And next week we're going to pick it up with season 2, episode 4. But today, season 2, episode 3, The Umbrella Academy. It's a good one.
It was. Yes.
It was a good episode.
Very enjoyable.
Enjoy the episode. Let's roll that tape. What do you say?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Just a quick one. Just a quick intro.
Bing, bang, boom.
Just bing, bing, bop, boo. Bingity, bop, 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 boo, boo. All right, bye.
Bop.
Roll the fucking tape.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bomb bass. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So La La Land. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, no, it's a classic. I honestly feel like that we've reviewed it on this podcast before.
Yeah, probably once. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Just because
Why the fuck
there
not?
are a few movies that I associate more with yours and my friendship.
Yeah, honestly.
Because the first time I watched it was that night that you were in North Carolina.
Yeah, well, was that your first time watching it?
That was my first time
that was
watching
my
it.
first time watching it, too.
Yeah, and we both made our coffee at like
Yeah.
2 a.m. and 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah, 3
We stayed up and we watched the shit.
Watch the shit. Yeah, I remember being like, I hope my cousins don't come downstairs. They're gonna be like, the fuck are you watching? And I'm gonna be like, bruh, it's
City
good,
of
I promise.
Stars.
I'm like, bro, no, you don't understand, bro. This shit hit you right now.
I mean, this shit goes.
This shit goes. Yeah,
Objectively. On the first things first, what about the music itself in this musical?
It's good. I think it honestly, I went and listened to the soundtrack last night, and I was like, it's not as good as it is alone as it is in the movie.
And that's how most musicals are.
Yeah.
Because the context of what's happening is usually what makes the songs good.
Right. And like also like the sequences and just like what you're seeing too makes it enjoyable.
Oh, dude, the visuals in this movie are fucking breathtaking.
Yeah, we'll get there. But
we certainly will.
I think that the music itself was very dreamy, and honestly, like it signaled to me that it didn't really need the whole jazz background.
Oh, it didn't.
Like, because it was just like I don't know what you call it, but it was like it wasn't pure jazz. Like it
Not
wasn't
by any
like
means.
what the music that they were playing or made for the movie were. So it's like that brings into like honestly the whole decision about jazz is probably the most questionable decision of the movie. But like honestly, I still fuck with jazz, so it's like I'll let you get away with it, but be careful.
Yeah, I mean, it was and to go strictly on the jazz thing, it was an extremely white take on jazz.
Yeah,
It felt like.
Yeah, well, it was just like this, like, here's the white man to save jazz. Like, okay,
Yeah.
sure, because that's how it always goes.
Yeah, and I mean, removing myself from that fact, I do appreciate this story too.
Yeah, no, it's a good story.
And Sebastian's character is interesting in that way. The way he's, would you call him stuck in the past?
I would not say stuck in the past. I would just say
Traditionalist
he is a traditionalist
in terms of jazz.
He is probably just someone who feels that the culture is missing itself, which is fine. But then that causes this weird, like, sort of like a vampiric mentality toward jazz, where he's just like.
And this happens with any sort of music too.
Yeah.
Like rap. There are people who are rap traditionalists who hate rap currently.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like at some point you got to accept that music evolves a little bit.
Yeah. But no.
But jazz is also weird in that way though, because it's like how jazz was the stuff John Legend's band was playing.
Oh no, I don't know. Like that, they say it's jazz or whatever, and I don't know. But that wasn't jazz to me. That was just fucking music.
See, and that's like
it was just a John Legend
and
song.
John Legend was trying to like his character in the movie was trying to justify it as an evolution of jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Like how are you going to be all up on your high horse talking about how we need to save jazz, but you're not willing to push it forward?
Yeah.
How are you going to be a revolutionary? I think is exactly what he says.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'm not trying to be a revolutionary. I'm trying to fucking own a jazz club.
Yeah. Basically. And those people are needed. It's just like, was Seb needed as that person?
Yeah. It's an interesting choice for the guy who's that guy.
Yeah. No, but I get what you're saying. Oh,
I thought you were about to say something.
I was. I forgot. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, that's fine. The main purpose of this movie is the love story between Sebastian and Mia. And all in all, it's one of my favorite love stories I've seen in any movie.
Yeah. No.
Simply because you mentioned this last night, it's universally relatable.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just something that like you can find some piece of that story that tells your own, and it's like it always hits harder.
It always hits harder.
Always hits harder.
Yeah, it's everyone has had that moment where they were sitting in the theater right next to each other, and Emma Stone like reaches her hand up to her knee, which is the universal like,
Yeah,
you can grab my hand. Right. and then Ryan Gosling also moves his hand to his knee, so they're like right next to each other, and you can like, you feel that electricity.
Yeah, you feel it.
You felt
it
before. Like that, you're so close, you're almost there, and it's just like, all right, we're gonna touch hands now, and
okay,
now we'll lock.
Here we go.
and it's like that moment of warmth.
Yeah,
that
like, moment of warmth.
There's like this settling feeling that's just like, you know what? Shit just might be okay.
Shit just might be okay.
And that moment in the movie makes you feel that.
Yeah, no, definitely. They play on a lot of typical tropes of youth romance, which I think makes it especially relatable to people who are younger, because people who are older, I really don't think actually like that movie at all. Like,
really?
From what I can tell, like of like the reviews that I've read, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is like melodramatic, just like unrealistic, and like all this other stuff." And
it's
like,
the most realistic love story I've ever watched.
Well, it's the most realistic love story. I think the story itself is probably unrealistic.
It's a little reachy.
It's also supposed to be like a dreamscape sort of thing. Like that's why
and
so many like.
Part of it too is that all of it's supposed to be like, most of it is by chance.
Yeah,
like they
right.
happen to bump into each other. I mean, that's how most people meet. But you happen to run into somebody you hadn't met them before.
Yeah,
odds are you weren't just like, hey, let's meet here. But I mean, it's like everything in the movie kind of happens to them, besides their romance.
Right.
They make their romance happen while everything else just kind of happens to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that causes everything to go off the rails, honestly.
It does. It really does, because like we were talking about this earlier, the spontaneity seems to be what their relationship was kind of built upon.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing that Sebastian does is he shows up to the coffee shop after they've already talked and they've already met and stuff. He's like, hey, you free?
Yeah.
He's like, I know last night we were just singing about how this is a lovely night and it's a waste because we're together, but now I'm kind of into you.
Kind of into you, yeah.
So, and this whole thing doesn't happen if Sebastian doesn't show up to that coffee shop.
Yeah, no, and that's a fact.
He shows up and they do their whole flirty thing. They walk through the lot. She tells him her dreams, and then he tells her his, and he's like, you know what? Let me take you to a jazz club. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Another spontaneity. What are you doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, nothing. He's like, all right.
And that's really a big thing in like, I feel like young, like relationships with people who are younger, because like you're just looking for any excuse to be with that person. Like you don't have like things that in your life where you're like, oh, I have to be doing this these days of the week, these times. Like you have to set up an appointment to see me. Like, like they're more so just like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. And it's like all those things like kind of fall by the wayside. It's like, well, I will do these things, but as long as I can do this too, as long as I can be with this person for a little bit of the day, it'll be all right.
Right.
And that's sweet as hell.
That is sweet. That is sweet.
Yeah. But he obviously takes her to that the jazz club, the Lighthouse, and then he asks her out to a movie that night, and she's like, yeah, I can do that, but she forgot about a dinner with the boyfriend she already has.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off. I'm like, wait a second. So all of this time, she's technically been dating a guy.
Haven't even seen him once in this movie, which is significant.
Yeah,
that shows just how great their relationship was.
I just could never imagine being in a relationship like that. Like, I would just hate myself. Like, I feel like you have to know in that relationship that y'all are like so flimsy that like,
yeah,
you could
the
start
dude just showed
a
up,
whole other person and forget
exactly.
Like,
forget he exists. Like, that was the purpose of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, she met him, and then it was like, this dude's gone to me.
Yeah.
I don't even remember him. So when he shows up to us, we're like, oh, shit, this guy exists.
Yeah.
And she has that reaction, too.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're at dinner and she's thoroughly just not enjoying it, she's like, man, I'm really unhappy with this guy. And his friends are just assholes. They're talking about a bunch of shit that I don't care about.
Yeah.
And what was interesting too is that they were talking about their jobs, but it was like typical corporate jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody growing up goes, you know what? I'm going to be the CFO of a bank.
Oh, fuck yes. Sounds like exciting.
Like not a bad job, obviously.
Oh yeah,
you're
gonna make money.
You're going to make money there, but it's not a passion, She notices in this moment she's an actress. She cares about what she's doing. Her boyfriend doesn't give a shit. She hears the jazz in the background, and she goes, "You know what? I'm gonna go be with him."
Yeah.
She gets up, leaves that dinner immediately. Spontaneity. The second act of love between the two of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, this leads to their movie theater experience where they try to hold hands and they're about to kiss, and then it's like the projector breaks. Oh shit, what do we do now? Spontaneity. We're going to the Griffith Observatory.
Yep.
Exactly where we saw it in Rebel Without a Cause. I thought that was kind of cool. They matched that shot mirror for mirror.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we got another moment of spontaneity that leads to their very first kiss.
It does.
Another major moment in their romance.
Mm-hmm.
Built upon spontaneity. Then we got like a whole bunch of stuff in the middle. They're going on dates. They're in love. We get this clear summer loving type montage.
I like how they split it up by seasons, because seasons I feel like are weird like backdrops to emotions.
And they also matched the and that was the point of the doing the seasons, is visually they could tell a story that matched the emotions that they were experiencing through that time. Summer, obviously, they were just like the happiest they've ever fucking been.
Yeah.
And then winter came around and it was oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, it starts in winter when they're both kind of like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
Kind of unhappy. Spring, they run into each other. Yep. They start dating. Summer, they're in love. Fall comes back around again, and it falls to pieces.
Yeah. That's basically what happens.
It's a good fucking movie.
It is.
Overall. What would you say is the point of this movie?
Well, the point of this movie, I feel like, has like a lot of different dimensions, but above all, it's just to be like kind of realistic about what
life is,
what life and love is, and like what love and life is. So life as a compilation of indiscriminate love is kind of how we contextualize the universal message of this, because it's like your natural question is, so she left him, goes marries this other guy, has kids. Obviously, she must be happier with this guy, but that's not necessarily true, because she realizes that there was every possibility that could have happened with Seb.
Exactly, and that's what the whole point of the ending is too. Is she like they're both? I'm assuming in that moment, that's what the montage is for, is to show that they both were as happy as they've ever been together. See, and I was talking to you about this off mic. It's like, once you're in love, like, are there varying degrees of in love, really? Or is it just you're fucking in love?
Yeah.
So it's like, she's obviously married and she has children, and I'd imagine, we don't get to see their love story, but given the circumstances, I would guess she's pretty happy.
Yeah.
And I would guess that she was in love with her husband.
Yeah.
But she was also in love with Sebastian.
Uh-huh.
So when they're remembering all these things, it's not a what could have been. It's just if everything had gone perfectly.
Yeah, right.
If everything had absolutely gone their way, their careers had aligned perfectly, their goals, their relationship just worked on all cylinders, and they could have ended up together forever. But often, it's just not how relationships work.
Yeah, just, you don't usually hit 100.
You don't. It's like baseball. You're lucky if you bat 300.
Yeah.
You did fucking good. But the ending of this movie just, it tears me up a little bit.
Yeah, no, it does. Well, it's just like so, like, I don't know, like it's so understandable that it hurts.
Yeah. It's like, it's also the factor that, like, this isn't that far-reaching.
Yeah.
In terms of something that's impossible. Like, it's certainly possible. Most people fall in love and then break up with someone.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes.
That's usually how life goes. If you fell in love once and you were together forever, good for you. But that's just not how it goes often. So it's that last moment where she's walking out of the Seb's club and she looks back at him and he looks back at her and they're both like,
yeah,
this is how it had to be.
This is how it happened. Yeah.
Be it a good thing, a bad thing, I don't know, but we are where we are, and you know what? I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to put that into words, like in terms of like a some explanation. It's just kind of like, we are where we are, and I'm cool with where I'm at, and I appreciate where you took me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because, like, there's definitely an impact that everyone who you get close to in your life like that plays on just how you think about things.
Yeah, and there was a quote in an article I was reading about La La Land a little bit ago where it was saying that the movie isn't just about ending up with the people who are most important in your life. It's that everybody who came and left your life is as important as the people you are with when you end it.
Yeah.
Or not when you end it, but throughout life.
Not when you end it.
I mean,
you know.
Oh God! Don't go ending it, okay? But yeah, I don't have much else to say about La La Land, man.
Yeah, I think we've thoroughly experienced that movie for sure.
I mean, this was like I'd say 5th time watching this movie. First movie that we've repeated.
Yeah.
In terms of a rewatch, I'd never watched the first 3 movies that we reviewed the last couple days. Jojo Rabbit, Ad Astra, and American Pickle. Those were all first viewings. So to revisit a movie was interesting.
It was.
I'd like to do it more.
Yeah, definitely.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this movie? And I know if you're listening to this, you probably listened to the last couple movie reviews. Maybe not. Last one we had a scaling and a rating system, and we decided it doesn't work. So all those movies got 6 out of 10s. Jojo Rabbit,
Which,
Ad Astra.
To be fair, I probably would have put them around that range.
Around that range,
had I
6
just
or
ranked...
7. That's fair. Like, see, but then we did the same scaling system for La La Land, a movie that me and Tavares both know we like a lot. We watch and we are blown away by how good it is. When we did our scaling system, it came to a 7.5 out of 10. And we were like, that simply isn't correct.
Isn't correct.
We thought, for the last three movies, 6 out of 10 could be right. 7.5 out of 10 for La La Land for us just wasn't.
No.
And it showed us an evident problem in our scaling system. So, from now on, we go with the gut. Out of 10, what do you rate La La Land?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's got to be at least be a 9.
I think 9 too.
Yeah, I think there's enough flaws to not make it a 10, but it's definitely a 9.
And the critique you gave it at the beginning, it's just there's one aspect of it that's pretty hard to get behind.
Yeah. Right.
That the white man saves jazz.
Yeah.
And I mean,
what if they did Michael B. Jordan instead of Ryan Gosling?
and then you can't do Emma Stone, I don't think. I mean, you could, but it's
You
just
could.
kind of like,
It would look weird. But that's also problematic.
that is also problematic. It's like, frankly, the cast of this movie probably should have been black. I mean, if we're just being real.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, but L.A. isn't L.A. with black people.
I mean, I appreciate the movie for what it is.
Yeah,
And I really
course.
fucking love the movie.
Of course.
So 9 out of 10 is a fair critique. You get 1 point off for not having enough black people in the movie. Which, I mean, is a fair critique. That's absolutely, like, not having a lack of diversity is certainly a reason you can deduct a movie points, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, I'd go 9 out of 10 for La La Land. Next segment. So, we are here to answer a question asked by so many around the world. Who are we?
And I still don't get it. And I really don't.
You don't get it?
No.
You don't get who are the reference?
No.
Who are we? That's a Parks and Rec thing. Tom Haverford says it. It's like in a tribute video to Lil Sebastian.
See, but I feel like
a little
he's
tiny
the
horse.
He's the last one to be contemplating existential consequences.
Yes, but they're at the funeral for a little horse, and it shook up the whole town.
The death of a horse?
A little horse.
One horse.
Little horse.
A baby?
No. Little Sebastian.
Little Sebastian.
Bye, bye, little Sebastian.
It really tore him up,
Miss
huh?
you in the saddest fashion. Fucking love Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Well, if
All
you
right,
couldn't
but-
get a good idea of who we are from that.
Yeah, no shit. Who are we? So you want to run this down for us a little bit? You sent me a link to this a week ago, just about.
Okay, so if anyone is like me and you know is kind of weird and wants to take a personality test, openpsychometrics.org. I thought it was sketchy at first. I was like, is it going to be one of those like
Just BuzzFeed type quizzes?
just like where they're like, oh, you're like this person because you
like the color red.
like the color red, yeah, and they're like, you're just like Iris from The Flash, and you're like,
Because clearly she likes red.
yeah, clearly. Anyways, it turns out this is actually scientifically based, and the idea behind this is that the test is a personality test which reflects an average ratings of the ratings of individuals. They collected this data according to just like I think like amount of scenes characters portray a certain personality trait, and they associated them with each, and then they rank you on a scale where you get it says 30. There's 30 character. Hold on. Volunteer respondents rates 30 characters on one trait each, randomly drawn from a bank of 30 traits. I don't know. Did that make sense to you? I'm just reading that for the first time.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
All right.
It's like they take these 30 characters and they have 30 traits, and they tell them to assign a trait to each
And this
character.
is why I got like a 16 on the science portion of the ACT. Like I was there, they were like,
I can't comprehend
the
paragraphs when they have numbers in them.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just like, you're explaining something in depth, but I just don't get it. Anyways, yeah, sounds legit. So that's the uber scholarly overview of this personality test.
And basically what this personality test does is it matches you to television or movie characters. And I liked the results. The results were interesting. I took it a couple times, and the results were always pretty consistent, but the questions were always different for the most part. So that was really interesting, and I appreciated the consistency of the tests. So we've selected 5 movies or TV shows, and from each of them, we got our match for that TV show or movie. So on the first one, Friends. From Friends, me and Tavares both got Phoebe Buffay. Personally, I love Phoebe. You obviously don't know too much about Friends, having never watched it, but I can confidently say that if there is any character from that show that me and you have the most in common with, it's probably Phoebe. She she's the most spiritual of the group. Not like religious, but just kind of like connected to everything.
Okay.
She's very, in her words, floopy.
So she's an airhead.
She's very much so an airhead. She is absolutely an airhead. But not dumb.
Okay.
She's still a smart woman.
A little ditzy.
You know?
Just a little ditzy.
Yeah, and it's a fun ditzy.
Yeah.
It's like it's a ditzy that you care about.
I definitely feel ditzy at times.
Oh, I'm certainly
Seems
ditzy.
like you feel a lot more ditzy than me at times.
And that is why my percentage rating for matching with Phoebe is the highest on this board at 81%.
Of any of the characters.
Of any of the characters, I'm 81% like Phoebe, and Tavares is 65% like Phoebe. The next one, The Dark Knight. Now this one was a
rude awakening.
This one was fascinating. Let's go with yours first.
Yeah, well, I got good old Lucius Fox at 64%.
Morgan Freeman.
Can't argue with that. You know, can't
you
argue
can't.
with Lucius Fox.
Lucius Fox
he was
a good ass dude.
loyal to the freaking end.
The man was he was a G.
an OG. Just he like, you know what? I'm doing this right, and I ain't doing it because you're a white man who dresses up and fights people and tells me to. Okay, I'm
doing
it
this because I care.
I care.
I care about supporting this white man who dresses up in a suit and tells people what to do.
Like he a cop.
He a
Knowing
little
damn
bit.
well
He a little bit of a cop.
I'm just a weapons developer. But that's pretty badass. Weapons developer, moonlighting.
As a superhero's like weapons developer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just
pretty
being an
kick-ass.
old guy, just being like, yeah, he gets all that arsenal from me.
It's pretty
I'm the
kick-ass.
man. There's no Batman without Lucius.
So you were a 64% match to Lucius Fox. I was a 70% match for the Joker. Which, interesting.
Interesting.
I
Very.
wouldn't say Phoebe and Joker are exactly similar, but I am 81% like Phoebe and 70% like the Joker. I like to think I favor Phoebe a little bit more than
It
Joker.
must just be you.
But you know, I mean, just some people like to watch the world burn.
They're saying you have a dark side that nobody.
I think if I dyed my hair green, I could kind of pull it off. Though
That would be that would.
I've
be
got the
kinda
long hair.
terrifying. Yeah.
If I just didn't wash it for a few days, it gets stringy as hell.
Yeah. That's
Then
that's
I could
kind of
and I'd just be I could just paint my face white and do all the makeup and everything.
Please don't.
I won't.
Okay.
I won't.
Cool.
I don't support the Joker's actions, even though I like how much chaos he likes to reign.
He does have an interesting philosophy.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that that's mostly why I got the Joker in this one, because every time a question came up that was like, the one that's like "fuck the police" or what was the other end of that?
I can't remember what it was. Tattletale.
Tattletale or "fuck the police." I was 100% "fuck the police."
Yeah.
That's just
One
where I
hundo.
went.
Like, not any room for doubt.
So if there was anything in that vein, I always went with the more anarchist view of things.
Yeah.
So that's very much so Joker.
Yeah, definitely. You know, now that you say it. I don't know how I got Lucius Fox, though, because I definitely put 100% on that, too. So
Who knows?
You know, it seems like you got some other problems.
Maybe so. Now for The Office. This one's not going to be too surprising, given that me and Tavares are relatively normal men.
Are we?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Just, I mean, more normal than the other characters from The Office.
Fair enough. Yeah,
We both matched
on an office scale. That's a different scale from a normal scale.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we matched with Jim, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to match with one of the dudes in that show, you probably want it to be Jim or Daryl.
Yeah. I think I got Pam last time.
I got Aaron.
The very first time I took it, and it was like, I can see it, I guess.
Yeah, I got Aaron, which it's very Phoebe-esque.
Very Phoebe-esque.
Which made sense to me. But the second time I took it, I got Jim at a 70% match, which was not as high as my Aaron one. I got a 78% match with Aaron.
Oh, man.
So the Phoebe and Aaron type character, I get very high matches with, which is interesting. And it makes sense why they're always my favorite character.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jim Halpert.
Jim Halpert, my guy.
And I'd say I'm relatively like Jim.
Yeah, Jim is just he's that one who has opinions from the outside, you know.
Yeah, he's the everyman.
He's
the
the
one
everyman.
the one who we view the story through, so
Mhm.
it's easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there was anyone else from The Office you could have matched with, who would you have liked it to be?
I don't know, honestly. Probably Jim. I mean,
I want Kevin. When I'm president, they see.
They
They see.
Shit, I'm forgetting his name, but
Ryan? Dwight?
no,
Creed?
black guy.
Oh, Stanley.
Stanley, yeah. I kind of would want to be Stanley, but also not, because, like, Stanley is kind of mopish and depressing in a lot of ways.
A little bit,
In
yeah.
other ways, he's liberating, because you're just like, he just
Like
fucking...
Florida Stanley.
He just said it. Oh, yeah, Florida Stanley.
Florida
Stanley.
That's the ideal character to be
Florida
like.
Stanley. That's
Or
all I
Creed in the finale when he's getting arrested.
wanna- Creed is probably number 3.
I mean, the dude's just got stories from everything.
Oh, yeah.
The man's a legend. But yeah, I got a 70% match with Jim. Tavares got a 63% match with Jim. So I'm equal parts Joker and Jim.
Okay.
70% both of them.
Yeah. There's okay.
This
80
one I feel is the most interesting in terms of a. Actually, the next two are kind of in the same vein. In terms of who we matched with,
What do you mean?
like for Game of Thrones, this first one, you got Tyrion Lannister, and I got Oberyn Martell. Oberyn's the
Yeah. The prince from
Prince of Dorne.
Dorne. Yeah.
And I'd say, for the next one, Westworld, me getting Maeve and you getting Bernard, that's like a similar lineup there. You know what I'm saying? Like Maeve is in in a similar lane to Oberyn, and Bernard and Tyrion are probably also in a similar lane.
Yeah.
And it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
I hadn't
could see
acknowledged that yet.
That's an interesting.
But
Well,
yeah,
I feel like Oberyn and Maeve less so. Maeve is kind of important. Oberyn ends up kind of.
I just meant in terms of personality.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like in terms of their role in the story.
Oh no, I just meant more in like who they are. So it would make
Yeah.
sense that we matched up with them in
It
terms
does.
of our personality.
It definitely does. Yeah.
I got a 78% match with Oberyn, which I was extremely happy about because Oberyn's badass.
Oberyn.
I love
is.
Oberyn,
Yeah, Oberyn was. I couldn't believe he was really ready to fight that motherfucker.
and he really had him, but he just had to.
He did.
He had him, and he had him killed, and then he got his skull crushed.
Yeah, that was a scarring
For sure,
to say the least.
I'd say. If there was one thing from Oberyn that I could, that I wish I had, it's the sexual prowess.
Oh yeah, that man was a monster.
That man loved everything.
He was a beast, just absolute monster.
Just
what a guy.
Just fuck everything.
Yeah.
Obviously consenting.
Well,
No,
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, it was, but like it's also Game of Thrones. It's not like
It's a
that was
shaky.
much of
It's a
question.
shady universe.
Yeah.
Tyrion, how you feel about matching with Tyrion?
I mean, I guess I see it, but like, ain't no problems with
he
it.
drinks and he knows things.
Ain't no problems with it. I'm just, I'm Tyrion. I always fuck with Tyrion because he was.
I always fucked with Tyrion too.
He was just kind of like the little dude who just was like, y'all are kind of being weird as fuck.
Yeah, like why can't we just kind of delegate?
Yeah, like he's just like
Everybody-
y'all just like so caught up on power and let me do this and let me do that and it's me, and he's like, bruh, like y'all
That's
are fucking it up for everybody.
That's why Bran the Broken
Bran the Broken.
should be king. But if there was anyone else from Game of Thrones that you wish you could have matched with, who would it be?
Shit. I feel like I knew this, but I forget. Honestly,
I'd like Jon Snow. I'd like to be like Jon Snow. A little bit more like Jon Snow. Not be like Jon Snow, because I can't imagine being that brooding all the time.
yeah.
I definitely wouldn't want to be Jaime.
No, fuck James.
Bronn. It'd be cool with Bronn.
Bronn. I can fuck with Bronn. Yeah.
I matched with Samwell Tarly one of these times, which I could see more so
Yeah.
than Oberyn Martell.
yeah.
There's some great
I
characters in
would
Game of
honestly
Thrones.
want to be a faceless man. Just wanna be
Jaqen
faceless
H'ghar.
man. That's it. That's all.
That guy would be kick-ass.
Yeah, that would just be fucking dope. A little, weird with the whole cutting off faces thing, but
Yeah,
I'd probably be willing to risk it, honestly, for those like that sort of ability.
that sort of power.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a 78% match with Oberyn, and Tavares gets a 65% match with Tyrion Lannister. Now to Westworld, I got a 69% match with Maeve. Nice.
Ooh.
And Tavares got a 64% match with Bernard. How you feeling about that one? I feel about right compared to all the other characters in the show?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how they guessed I was black, but
That's a good point.
Lucius Fox and Bernard.
Lucius Fox and Bernard. Well, yeah, because I never got a black guy. I got Oberyn, but that's not
And
a black
my top guy
I got
was
Maeve. That's a black woman.
Fair. My top guy was the black guy from This Is Us, who I don't know who he is either because I've never seen This Is Us. But
Oh yeah, William, definitely my favorite character from This Is Us. But yeah, Maeve. I'm interested in the fact that I matched with Joker, Maeve, and Oberyn.
Joker and Maeve are more in the same lane.
Yeah,
Definitely.
kind of just raising hell.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily. Like, I don't want to like say Maeve is like Joker per se, but like they are willing to go about their methods in the raising hell sort of way.
Their willingness to raise hell.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, and I mean, Maeve's always been for me probably. I just finished rewatching Westworld season 1 last night, and Maeve is probably my favorite character in that show.
Wait, you say you just finished watching it again?
Yeah, the first season.
Oh yeah.
Or finished rewatching it.
Okay.
And I have to say, I think Maeve's probably my favorite character in that show. She's just there's no one in the show that you are constantly rooting for besides these two. Really, You want Maeve and Bernard to make it out.
Yeah.
You want them to be okay. And there are parts where you're like, Dolores is, she's a little shaky.
She just seems a little cold. Or,
Yeah.
She's like,
You
damn,
feel like
she just
Maeve
don't
and
give
Bernard
a
are a bit
fuck.
more human.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I appreciated matching with Maeve, especially at a 69%.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Bernard at 64. That's a solid one.
Yeah, I was straight in the mid 63 to 65 range for all of them. I guess I don't match up well with most people.
Well, you're an original guy. You're
And
an
a lonely
original guy.
one? No.
But yeah, so I'm equal parts Phoebe, Joker, Jim, Oberyn, and Maeve, which is that's about right. that sounds about on point. Then Tavares, who you got? What's your combo?
Wait, what?
Your combo is Phoebe, Lucius Fox, Jim, Tyrion, and Bernard.
Oh, yeah.
That also makes sense. I see it. I see it for sure. Like, if you just balled all those characters up into one, it'd be about you.
I don't know how to do that, though. That's what I'm having trouble with.
I see it. It's just a vibe. You can't really articulate these things. You look at it, you go, yeah, you know what? That makes about sense. The sense is almost there. I see
it's
it.
almost okay. Fair enough.
Shall we move on to the Umbrella Academy?
I believe so.
Let's do it. Let's talk some Umbrella Academy. We got Season 2, Episode 3, The Swedish Job. How'd you feel about this episode overall?
It was exciting because it feels like they're really starting to pick up the steam quickly.
It does.
And everyone's starting to actually get together already, and you're like, okay.
There was that moment where Vanya looked like she was really about to be in trouble with the milkmen.
Oh yeah, no, she was kind of fucking up there. I don't know what she was doing.
Yeah, she kind of hesitated too long, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do some hitting the high notes, because this is the perfect show for hitting the high notes. And then we're gonna do Under the Umbrella, which is what in this episode reminded you of you. So we start this episode out with a montage of Klaus, how he came to power.
And came to power.
He meets this older
God.
woman, and she's like, "Oh, come on, honey." And then I think he kind of made her his sugar mama.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I got.
Yeah.
And then he like acted like he could float in front of all of her friends, so he became this prophet. They traveled the world, and then he ends up back in San Francisco. All these people touching his face and shit, and he's like, "Oh God, get off me!" And then he has them all put their hands up and whistle. And he crawls right out of that bitch. He's like, "No, I'm out. I'm done."
Like,
They're
I
too
gotta go. Like, peace out.
clingy. And I absolutely love that his followers were called Destiny's Children.
Yeah, I know.
Again with another
And it's funny just because
R&B
like
reference.
shit's gonna come out like in like years, and then they're gonna be like he foresaw it.
That's why he's called the Prophet, which is absolutely awesome. Like, yeah, they show him in Mexico, they show him in India. I mean, Klaus is a legend. Frankly, I have another note later that actually says Klaus is a legend. I'm pretty sure. But we next get a look at Diego and Lila. Good to know Diego's alive.
Of course,
Lila saves his ass for the second time.
Yeah, she's putting in that work.
Interesting, given what we learn at the end of this episode.
Very interesting.
Just to gain his trust, perhaps?
Well, I mean, you kind of have to like when you format a relationship like that. You know, a friend wouldn't just be like, "Damn, that's crazy. You got shanked."
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So you think part of their relationship is genuine?
I mean,
for her?
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, maybe not, but it has to appear genuine.
It does. I hope this culminates in Lila being like choosing Diego, because I fucking love Lila and Diego.
Yeah, no, they're dope. But also, we don't know how much of her act is her too.
That's true. That's very true. We also don't. I mean, she's involved with the handler. Obviously, we learn that later. We'll get to it. So it was nice. It was nice learning that Diego's alive. He didn't die when his dad shanked him.
Right.
We next see Vanya driving her truck, and then she has to stop in the middle of the road when she is confronted by a milkman. And obviously, the milkman. We know the milkman because he likes to murder people.
Yeah, they just kind of ruthlessly kill you.
These motherfuckers about their business. Drive. She tries to step on the gas. She gets shot at a bunch of times. The car spins out, right? And you said, okay, you crashed. Now run. She's running through the corn maze. You said, zigzag. This corn maze chase was dope. And when she gets fired at, it was time to wake up.
Yep.
She let her powers go a little bit. She forced them all back. She ran out of there. I fucking love her power. It's super fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
We then get a scene of Luther going on his run, and we pass a man wearing a "The End Is Nigh" sign, which was a cool little reference to The Watchmen. Like the very first page of the Watchmen comic, one of the panels features a character named Walter, I want to say, carrying a sign that says "The End Is Nigh." So I thought that was cool. Another comic book to comic book homage. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah.
During these high notes, I found it extremely funny that the kids called Luther King Kong while he was running.
Yeah, I mean, like that. When you look at the dude, like they're just like, I ain't never seen no shit like that.
He is literally infused with
monkey
DNA.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that offensive? Probably.
Yeah, but he is part monkey.
Yeah, but like you can't just go around calling all monkeys King Kong. That's stereotyping monkeys.
Yeah, but I mean, it happens.
It does happen. Shame. That's racism against monkeys. Why you gotta call him King Kong? Five finds Vanya, which is dope, based off his tracking of sound waves, by the way. That's part of what makes Vanya's power so cool.
Yeah.
Is that it's sound waves.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you connect that to her musical past with her playing the violin and shit, super fucking cool.
Yeah.
I find that super awesome. And Five tells her, we got to get away from the IKEA Mafia. Which, an apt name for these milkmen.
Yeah, Swedish dudes with guns.
Yeah, the IKEA Mafia. This part made me think it'd be trippy if you didn't remember anything, and then someone tells you that you don't even belong in the year that you're in.
Yeah, no, I don't know how I would really take that. They'd be like, yeah, so basically an apocalypse vortex, spread out, nobody knows anything. We are in 1963. We came from 2019. I would be like, wait, how many years is that?
I mean, like, that's 106.
2019?
106. Oh, that's not quite right. Okay. We see that she did some fucking damage to that corn stalk, too. She really blew out an entire area of that thing.
Yeah, she put in work.
She's dangerous. And Luther, like, he showed up last episode or 2 episodes ago with his hand on his gun, and you see a little bit more of the reason why he might have been afraid if she...
I mean, yeah, but, like, also, like, he wasn't going to threaten her. Like, there was no...
Yeah, he wasn't really about it, Luther.
Be vigilant like that.
Yeah, but we next see Luther arriving back from his run, and Mr. Ruby actually, like, tells him to eat. He, like, sounds like his grandmother. Have you eaten today? He's like, no. Like, you need to eat. You got to fight tonight. Which doesn't go so well.
No.
Maybe Luther should have eaten. Oh, wait. Guess what? He eats a shit ton of chocolate here in a second. Maybe that has something with him getting his ass beat later.
That's true.
But Luther asks Mr. Ruby to track down Allison for him. A little weird?
A little weird, but he's a weird guy. So it's
also,
it's
they are displaced in time.
Yeah.
It makes sense for him to want to find someone he knows.
Right.
But, like, why have you waited?
I mean, yeah. He was just... I don't think Luther's very... he doesn't have a lot going on up there.
Luther's not...
Could have been lack of oxygen.
I feel bad for that guy, you know?
I do too. He just is a little... what's the word I'm looking for? Doofy. I don't know.
He's a little bit like Jerry from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, right. Like, he just kind of followed... or like, led a mission...
What were you even trying to say? I don't even know where that was going.
Led...
Astray?
No, I just want to say led by his emotions, but, like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why.
I thought you were trying to say Michelle and tie that in somehow. Yeah. I wasn't sure. But yeah, he the problem is I don't think he's always just been following his dad's orders. So when he finally gets this chance to be on his own and stuff, the next person who drove his motives was Allison. Then he lost Allison. Yeah. So now he's just kind of like, well, dude, I am a lost fucking puppy dog. I don't even know what to do.
And, you know, I don't know what to tell him. You know, it's just live your life, man. You just gotta live. You gotta live it. You gotta do it.
You work for a gangster who kills Lee Harvey Oswald.
It's like the worst possible decision. Well, no, not the worst possible decision you could have made.
But, like, why?
But a weird-ass decision to make.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? I'm going to seek out Mr. Ruby. See what he's up to. But next we see Allison approach this big-ass house, and she makes her way to the back. I never picked up on the explanation for her being at this house.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
It seemed
either.
really random to me.
Yeah,
and I probably just missed
something. She
something.
walks to the back. Oh, Klaus.
And she finds Klaus in the pool in the backyard, this dirty-ass pool, clearly abandoned.
Yeah.
And she, like, jumps in the pool fully dressed and gives him a hug, and I thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. But they're going back and forth about what they've been up to, and Klaus says, you know, dicks, drugs, debutantes, my holy trinity.
My holy trinity.
I was like, that's the quote of the episode right there.
Yeah.
And when he kind of understates what he's been up to, Allison goes, you started a cult, Klaus. He's like, cult's such a negative word. She's like, nah, that's what you did.
It's a cult. It's a cult.
Then he learns that she's married to one Raymond Chestnut, and he's like, you say Ray Chestnut?
He's like, yo, I know that dude.
She's like, yeah. He's like, oh, I know him. We did time together. They sat in a holding cell. They sat in a holding cell for a little bit. But this scene also includes a flashback to when Vanya got her throat cut.
Yeah.
Because
Vanya cut.
Or Vanya cut Allison's throat. My bad.
Yeah, that was still a gruesome
That's still
scene.
one of the most shocking scenes to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time it happened, like, that's out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, no.
You're like, wait, Whoa.
I was just, I was
Whoa.
like, this is like more violence than this show has ever shown before. Why is this so abrupt and at the end of the season? And like, I just didn't expect that to be happening at that moment. I was like, yo,
Oh,
she
for
really
sure.
don't care. Like,
And the reason this flashback happened is that Klaus was asking her about if she'd been using her powers, and she went on to talk about how she hasn't used them since she got her throat cut,
yeah,
and that she's proud of what she's been doing, everything she's done. She's earned it. She hasn't had to, tell anyone a rumor,
mm-hmm.
which that's certainly got to be empowering. That was her
Yeah.
biggest. That was her biggest like insecurity
Yeah.
in season 1 was that
Right.
she didn't feel like she earned shit. She rumored her way to the top.
Yeah, which is tempting.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, if you have the ability to make people do whatever you tell them, you're bound to take advantage of that at some point.
Oh yeah,
I mean, great power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like you're gonna use it bad.
yeah, right. Like you're gonna be like, what if I just was like, I heard a rumor, all this shit was free.
And the store clerk's like, you're motherfucking right. This shit is all yours. You know what? Take the store. Here.
And take the store. Here's the keys and the deed.
We next see the handler enter a pet store. She walks up on these fishies, and she sees a kid tapping up against the glass. And this little interaction was weird. The handler's storyline is like just shrouded in mystery. I never really know what she's trying to do.
Yeah, me either.
And this certainly didn't help when she walks up to this place and she looks in this fish tank. Did she put something in the fish tank?
Apparently
So. She put that she put something in the fish tank, and she whispers something in the kid's ear after he keeps tapping on the glass, and makes this kid piss himself.
Mm-hmm.
She scared the shit out of this kid, or the piss rather. I want to know what she said though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think that was just a way for them to get out of having to actually write something that horrifying, or?
I mean, yes, to an extent.
Or is it like something important that'll come back
maybe
and we'll see it?
I don't feel like we'll come back to that, but
Wouldn't that be so random?
It
This
would.
little kid pops up and he says something, and then like
It's like she told me everything.
She told me her entire plan. I pissed myself. It was sad.
It was sad.
We then see the civil rights activist group having a bit of internal struggle over whether or not they should proceed with the sit-in now that Raymond is in jail. And Allison talks her shit. She's like, hey, we are strong enough to do this even though Raymond is behind bars. We can do this shit. It'll be all right. She convinces enough of the group to proceed with the sit-in. And she was fucking ready. It was hype as fuck. And then one of the other ladies walks up to her and pats her on the shoulder and goes, behind every man. And I was like, hell yeah. Behind every man is a strong and powerful woman. We next go to the police station where Raymond is being held. And what in tarnation?
Darnation.
This Dallas, Texas ass cop watches his sandwich float in the air and then get thrown into the wall.
It's a shitty looking sandwich anyway.
Then his typewriter starts typewriting all on its own. And it says, free Raymond Chestnut or die.
Or die.
And then
You got
quickly that,
2 options.
on its own, debunked. It was Klaus's friend. Bill.
Right, which I kind of figured out.
I figured too. But it was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Klaus was like, you know what? You're married to Allison. I'll come back for you. I'll let you out real quick. And he proceeds to tell Raymond that he's his brother-in-law and that family barbecues are about to get real weird. So that's the first of the brothers of Allison to show up and speak to Raymond before Allison. Or not before Allison for Klaus, but
Yeah.
they just come up to Raymond and are like, hey, I'm your brother-in-law.
Yeah. That'll be weird. I don't know how I'd take
Especially if you're married to a black woman and a couple of white guys show up and are like, I'm your wife's brother.
that. Yeah. Right. Like I would be like,
It's got to be confusing at that point.
she's never told me anything about.
She's never mentioned anybody in her family.
Yeah.
And I'm certain she would have mentioned 2 white brothers.
Right. Right.
Like, It's a given. But we next see Five breaking down the situation for Vanya in the most plain way possible, which is still not at all plain. It's like, so basically, the world ended in 2019. Well, you were adopted and bought by an eccentric billionaire when you were a child. You were raised as a superhero in a superhero group, but you didn't have any powers, and then we gave it, you unlocked your powers, and then the world ended in 2019. We got sent back to 1961, and we're here.
Yeah.
Any questions?
And another one's coming.
Yeah, and it followed us.
In a week.
Dude, I love the ending of that. He was like, any questions?
Any questions?
And Vanya had surprisingly few questions.
She did.
I was impressed with her
She's
comprehension
treating
of
this
the
like it's
situation.
almost normal.
And, like, what was interesting to me is, like, the most shocking thing to her, which I guess this would be the most shocking part, is her first question is, what do you mean apocalypse?
Yeah.
Like, hold on. You were just told you traveled 50 years back in time? And you're going, what about the apocalypse?
Yeah.
I'd be like, wait a second. How'd I travel through time?
Yeah, how'd I travel through time? How did I get here?
How did I get here? How did she get there? But yeah, that'd be my go-to, almost certainly. We learned the timeline is now 8 days in this conversation, and it's on pace with your one episode per day.
Okay.
Yeah, because the first episode's 10 days away, second episode 9 days away,
Yeah.
third episode 8 days away. Next episode, we should be about a week away.
About a week.
About a week.
About a week.
About a week ago. And then Vanya immediately is like, I need to call Sissy because, I think I'm in love with her. And Sissy is currently parenting, and she's having a rough time with her child at the moment.
Yeah, very rough.
I'd guess that this kid is on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
But,
he's autistic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is also the 60s.
Yeah, they don't know how to deal
They don't
with
know
that.
how to
It's
deal
just-
with...
You just got to let it happen.
Yeah, they were just kind of... She did her best. She wrapped him up and squeezed him real tight when he was having a little bit of a panic episode, which I learned in Atypical, it's actually a smart thing to do, is wrap someone up and squeeze them tightly because it compresses their nervous system.
Oh,
and
really?
And it'll calm them down.
Yeah.
So she had the right attitude about dealing with it, certainly. But Vanya calls her and is talking to her about like how she found her younger brother. Sorry, I took the station wagon and left last night.
Yeah.
And then she calls Five her younger brother.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she doesn't know that he's a 50-year-old man yet. But how does this work? Is he her younger brother?
I think so. He's got, originally he was younger than her. Like, before he got stuck in the future.
Yeah.
And so, just because he's lived
50-something years.
Yeah, in that alternate time. I don't know how that worked either. Yeah, he lived 50.
He
lived 50 years into the future.
Yeah.
And then he traveled back in time.
Yes.
Back to his...
And when he traveled back in time, he got put back in his childhood body.
Yeah. Which is weird, because that means he is still the age that he was in the year that it is. He's just with the mind of someone who has experienced quite a few more years.
And if they ever have to stop dealing with potential cataclysmic events, he's going to live one hell of a life.
One hell of a life.
The man's basically 60, and now he's 15 again.
He just knows how things work.
That man could excel in everything he wanted to.
Yeah, literally.
We next see Lila and Diego together, and Lila jabs the stab wound on Diego's stomach.
Yeah,
and
that
tells him
was-
to lay the fuck down. You're
that
not
was
worrying
kind of
about this JFK shit right now.
I would be pissed. I'd be like, why the fuck would you think that's a good idea?
It's funny. My notes here are Lila just stabbed his wound, or jabbed his stab wound, LMAO. Next note, these two are such a cute couple. I love it.
These two are such a cute couple.
I fucking love them
Domestic
together.
violence, oh, don't you love it?
It's so adorable. And then they get real in this conversation, and it leads to us learning that Lila found her parents dead when she was 4, which, given the end of this episode, now seems like a lie, since
Definitely
she
a
called
lie.
Handler her mother.
Definitely a lie.
Damn, I really didn't want her to be a double agent. I really didn't want that. I liked her and Diego's rapport. There was a certain je ne sais quoi about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that word means.
Me either.
I just use it when it feels right.
Yeah, just,
Like
je
many
ne sais quoi.
Americans. Yeah, so when she was 4, she found her parents murdered, apparently. And right here, my notes are like, oh, she feels
maybe
vulnerable
that's not.
with him.
Maybe the handler isn't her mom, too, though.
Yeah.
Like her actual mom.
The handler, I mean, like, I don't want to act like there can't be interracial couples or anything, obviously. The handler's a white woman.
Right.
I don't think Lila's a white woman.
No, she's not white at all. Maybe a little bit. Not much.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, maybe a little bit. Like, maybe. Yeah. You never know, though.
You never know.
Guess we'll see. Guess we'll learn more in the future. I really think their thing is real. The way she asked, is it okay that I don't hate you the way I hate most people?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's definitely an element of truth to it. I just don't know.
I'd be willing to bet that her parents did die. The handler took her in because she was only 4 and raised her, and therefore she is her mother. You know, she calls her mom and everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, I'm holding on hope that Diego and Lila are real. So, when she says, is it okay I don't hate you the way I hate most people, he kisses her, which she responds by smacking him in the face and asking, what are you doing? And he goes, Jesus, I do not understand you. Because there was a certain tension there.
Yeah.
And then he lays down and she just starts making out with him.
Yeah, she's
just a little all over the place.
Oddball.
She's just a little all over the place.
Odd little duckling.
And then we see that Mr. Ruby found Allison, talks to Luther about it, and he's like, you sure know how to pick them.
Yeah.
Which was extremely racist.
Yeah, but, sign of the times.
It is. It is indeed. Yeah, he was just like, South Dallas, huh? You sure know how to pick them. What a fucking dick. Fuck Mr. Ruby. I mean, he's a murderer and a gangster, so, I mean, for more reason than one, but he's also racist now, so that sucks.
Yeah, but, I mean, could have guessed that.
Probably. So, Luther pulls up to Allison's house, and Raymond walks up on him and is like, can I help you? And he's like, oh, I guess I've got the wrong house. I'm looking for Allison Hargraves. And he's like, Allison Chestnut. And, dude, the switch in this dude's face immediately, just sorrow.
Yeah.
This man knows nothing but emotional pain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My note here was, his sheer confusion and sadness overtaking this man is sad, but also a little funny.
A little funny.
The confusion part. The confusion part's funny because he's like the entire time, like that first time he walks in and he's sitting at the table, he goes, ooh, he's just so confused and he's like, he doesn't even know how to pull himself together.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Well, I don't know. Like, I probably wouldn't have reacted that way, but the way that he did react makes sense for someone who probably has abandonment issues.
Oh, certainly.
Got left
Given
on the
that
moon.
his dad sent him to the moon without an idea for what he was going to do up there.
Yeah.
And this is the part where Luther tells him he's Allison's brother. And he is forced to eat all these chocolates that he brought for Allison because he didn't want to give this guy the wrong idea.
Yeah.
So he's just stuffing his face full of chocolate, and this guy's like, funny, my wife didn't mention she had a white brother. Or
Big as
two of
fuck.
them, no less.
Yeah, right.
And then Luther, like, he looks at those pictures after Allison is on the phone with Raymond for a little bit, and Raymond's like, all right, you want to leave a message for Allison or anything? And then he, like, gets in his face, and it seems like Luther's, like, mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just tell her I want to talk to her.
Ray just kind of seemed intimidated, I think, by Luther's size. Like,
I
Luther,
mean, I can't blame him there.
Yeah, right. But Luther was just kind of, like, being, like, real, like, weird. Just in general, he was kind of.
I couldn't read what emotion he was trying to portray.
Me either. Yeah.
It was like,
I'm assuming it's some form of hopelessness because it definitely wasn't anger.
yeah, I'd say. But the next scene we see is that they are starting the sit-in. Allison goes and sits down at the counter, and she gets absolutely reamed by a couple of white fucks behind the counter. And my thought here was this white woman's a little too good at playing racist. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And then, so we just see the start of the sit-in there. We don't get to see much further than that. But then we next see Klaus coming back to Dallas. And he is stopped by a little convenience store of some sort where they are selling paint. And he finds Dave, the man he fell in love with in Vietnam back in Season 1, when he was sent back in time to Vietnam. Because that's what this show does.
Yeah, you just all over the place.
Fucking love it. I fucking love how wild this show is.
Honestly.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I was like, oh, Jesus, I forgot that one episode Klaus had an entire romance arc.
Yeah.
Where he fell in love and got PTSD.
Yeah.
From his his boyfriend dying in his arms, which is devastating. So here we learn that Klaus wants to convince Dave not to enlist to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
But that would also mean he never meets Klaus.
That's true. It's quite selfless.
I'm interested in the way time works for the guys who are in the Umbrella Academy. So
I think they keep memories of everything.
I do too. But like if they were to time jump, well, what's so confusing is when they go back in time, the copies of themselves, once they get to a certain point in the timeline, wouldn't they pop up?
I don't think so, because it doesn't seem like time is fixed in this universe. Like,
that's fair.
There's no
like the way their actions are affecting everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so where they go is where they go. Like, you can't be in two times at once.
So this is interesting. This basically means they live outside of time.
In a way, yeah.
Meaning, like, now that they've traveled where they have, they'll probably never actually be born again in the timeline. They will just have been born in their timeline.
Well, what do you mean born again?
Like, they're in 1963. If they were to live their lives from 1963 to 2019, they wouldn't be born again. They would have been born in their timeline, and then they just wouldn't happen again. So then what, like, time's such a fucking mindfuck. That's just absurd to think about.
Yeah, they change history by time traveling, I guess. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Again, we're back to the sit-in, and I say, fuck these white people.
Fuck these white people.
Ray shows up talking about how interesting his day has been, given that he has met two of Allison's white brothers.
Yes. That would be an interesting day, to say the least.
It would indeed. Then we cut to Luther in another vicious cockfight, and he's beating the shit out of a dude, and then he remembers his interaction with Ray earlier, and he gets a little depressed.
A little depressed. And
he lets this dude beat his ass in, like, an effort of self-harm.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't know. He just gave up, and I think that was kind of what it was. Maybe trying to symbolize that he was just kind of hopeless at that point with that information. But yeah, he got his shit rocked.
He was like, "I want to feel the pain. I want to feel all the pain." I was like, "Man,
sad.
That is devastating, dude."
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have been in love with this girl pretty much all your life, and now she's married.
That would contribute. Yeah, that would
After
definitely
you've
contribute.
been displaced in time and you're working for a murderous gangster, it would all be a little bit crooked. We next go back to the sit-in where it escalates. They get arrested.
Yeah.
Ray gets beaten by the police, which is super disappointing. My all caps note here, damn, don't beat the fuck out of Ray, man. Fuck all this. And then Allison whips it out. She whips out the I heard a rumor.
Yeah, which honestly, I've been waiting on that. I'm like, man, you should have been out here.
Probably should have used that a little bit ago.
Just going wild on these motherfuckers. I heard rumors.
I heard a rumor that black people are allowed in here.
That's true.
Shit solved. I mean, not their hatred for black people.
Yeah.
Now they can sit in there. And yeah, it was disappointing too to see that Ray was like, "Yo, what the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
No white cop just goes away because a black woman told him to.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, who are you? Who are you? And he's like scared of her.
Yeah, I hate when they do that to people. Like, they're just like, who are you? And then they run away. You're just like...
Well, the thing for me is that wasn't enough for him to be freaked the fuck out by.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, she has 2 white brothers. Little freaky. But easy fix. Adoptive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in your own mind. Like, not even like what the actual situation is. You can justify that easily. She gets this cop to stop beating you. And you're freaked out at her? It's interesting.
No,
it's just interesting.
It's weird.
I mean, and obviously, a lot of emotions probably surging through Ray in that moment.
I think it's probably just more of a writing sort of thing, just like getting the story to move ahead. But like, it's kind of a lazy habit to just kind of be like, oh, they ran away, like they weren't curious.
Yeah, like, well, she heard him say, he heard her say, I heard a rumor. Those 2 times when he was getting arrested.
That's true.
So he was like, you just said it again. He listened. You clearly have something going on with this I heard a rumor thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be kind of interested.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. It was just an interesting reaction. I don't get it. But I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes now.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. We then cut back to Luther getting his ass beat, and he is lifted off his feet by this man punching him, which is wildly impressive. Have you seen Luther?
Yeah.
That man's massive.
He's a big guy.
You can lift this man a foot off the ground with a punch to the chin.
He's a big guy.
You're a stud.
Yeah.
And Rudy was not happy about it. As he has lots of money riding on Luther every night, and he didn't even attempt to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Which tells me now he's going to be in trouble with Mr. Ruby. Which just adds a problem to his list of problems that he didn't need.
Yeah, but
he had
also,
a good thing with Mr. Ruby.
There's just 8 days left in this whole thing, so I'm just like, I would just be kind of be like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess he did straight up turn down the opportunity to end the world. This man's just like, I don't care anymore, man. If I die, I die. Just sad.
He's just out there being weird.
To end the episode, we see Lila get out of bed with Diego. And she walks into the same pet store that we saw the handler walk into earlier. We watch her grab the little box out of the fish tank, and it has a room key in it. She goes to that room. She lays on the bed next to the files we saw the handler looking at earlier. The handler walks out of the bathroom. And Lila goes, "Hi, Mom." And that's the end of the episode.
And that's the end.
So, that's the most exciting part of this. Because my favorite part of the season, through the first 3 episodes, was already Diego and Lila.
Uh-huh.
So now that there's this wrench thrown into Diego and Lila, which there had to be at some point. They weren't just going to give him a perfect relationship out of nowhere.
Right.
There's even more stakes in it now.
Oh, yeah. No, it's now you're just wondering, like, what the
deal is. Is she serious?
Well, I wonder what the handler's motivations, because obviously she's manipulated her daughter into doing this somehow. Like, there's no other reason that she would have that connection, but it's still pretty unclear as to why, like, what she plans to do about it. Like, why she needed intel, why she needed someone close.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I want to know.
And we still don't know where the milkmen are coming from.
Are they connected? Do you think the milkmen and the handler are somehow connected?
It seems like their strategy is different.
Yeah, it seems like they have opposing, like, methods. It seems like the handler is, like, setting something up.
Yeah.
Because to have someone infiltrate the group, like Lila,
yeah,
that's something much bigger than the milkmen who are just coming in trying to murder all of them.
Oh, yeah. Some I feel like something's definitely being set up right now, because this war has to
escalate in 8 days.
In 8 days, yeah. And right now, and as of the moment, nobody's even contemplating war. So we still don't know what that impetus is.
I can't wait for next week. Can't wait for the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Time for Under the Umbrella. What moment in this episode reminded you of you?
Definitely the I don't understand you.
That's what I was gonna go with.
Just
When he's like, Jesus, I do not understand you. God, we've been there.
Yeah.
We certainly have. It reminded me of that scene in Stranger Things. I can't remember if it was the second or third season. Probably second, but yeah, it's second. Steve Harrington's walking up to Nancy's house, and he's carrying flowers. He's like, I love you. I'm sorry. What the fuck do I have to be sorry for? Why am I even doing this? He's like, I do not understand you.
Yeah.
Very, very similar energy there.
Mm-hmm.
I can also relate to the idea of if I were to start a cult, naming my followers the Destiny's Children.
Destiny's Children.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny. It's a nice little joke.
But what if Destiny's Children doesn't take that name now because they're like, oh, there's this weird cult that also has the same name. We don't want to get confused.
Yeah, what if Destiny's Child was like, oh, damn, remember that cult from the 60s? Now we can't be Destiny's Child.
No, we can't be Destiny's Child.
Oh, how history would change.
Yeah.
Would we still have Beyonce?
Also, too, you got to consider that when they travel back in time, it affects the future. And so they aren't in the future, and so it can affect their future selves.
Therefore, it can't affect their past selves.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, because their past self is their future self.
God, that's such a fucking trip. I'm looking forward to next week. What movie will we be watching next week for a review?
What are we watching?
The Change Up? Or the Switch Up?
Yeah.
The Change Up.
Yeah, the Change Up. The Change Up.
Change Up. Jason Bateman.
Ryan
Reynolds. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one for sure. And we'll also be doing The Umbrella Academy Season 2, Episode 4. I have been Colton Robertson. That has been Tavares Pennington. Peace, love, and bloom, man. Praise Keanu Reeves, as per usual. And have a nice day.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely you. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Love you.